As the pale moonlight casts eerie shadows across the ancient graveyard, a young man cautiously steps between weathered tombstones. The wind whispers through gnarled trees, their branches reaching out like skeletal fingers yearning to ensnare him. With each hesitant footfall, the air grows thicker, heavy with the weight of forgotten souls. Venturing deeper into the maze of crumbling monuments, he feels a subtle tremor beneath his feet. The ground itself seems to pulse with an otherworldly energy. Suddenly, a sickening crack pierces the silence. One of the nearby gravestones splits open, revealing a ghastly sight that freezes the blood in his veins. A bony white hand, its flesh long since decayed, claws its way out of the earth with unnatural determination. The young man's breath catches in his throat as whispers begin to swirl around him. At first, they're barely audible, fleeting echoes carried on the breeze, but soon they grow louder, more insistent. His name, they're calling his name. Sometimes the voices seem to come from just behind his shoulder, other times they drift from the far reaches of the graveyard. It's as if unseen entities are circling him, drawing ever closer with each passing moment. Panic surges through his body like an electric current. Fight or flight instincts kick in and he breaks into a desperate run, but the graveyard has other plans. No matter which direction he chooses, every path seems to loop back on itself. The tombstones blur together in a dizzying kaleidoscope of weathered stone and faded inscriptions. He's trapped in an endless maze with no escape in sight. As he runs, the darkness thickens around him. It's no longer just the absence of light. This darkness has substance, an almost tangible presence. Tendrils of fog begin to coalesce, swirling and shifting like restless spirits awakening from their slumber. The mist seems to have a mind of its own, reaching out with ghostly fingers to brush against his skin. His lungs burn as he gasps for air, each breath becoming more labored than the last. In his frantic flight, he fails to notice a protruding tree root. His foot catches, sending him sprawling to the ground. As he scrambles to his feet, he finds himself face to face with an imposing structure looming before him, a massive tomb, its stone facade etched with symbols he can't begin to decipher. For a moment, all is still. Then, without warning, the tomb's heavy door bursts open with a thunderous crack. From within the yawning darkness emerge figures that defy description. Ghostly apparitions clad in tattered funeral robes that haven't seen the light of day in centuries. Their faces are gaunt, skin stretched tight over hollow cheekbones. But it's their eyes that truly terrify, empty sockets that somehow still manage to convey an endless, unfathomable hunger. These spectral beings drift towards him with an eerie grace, their movements fluid yet unnatural. There's no escape now. They form an unbreakable circle around him, closing in with inexorable purpose. The young man can feel the chill emanating from their incorporeal forms, a bone-deep cold that seems to sap the very warmth from his body. His heart pounds so furiously he fears it might burst from his chest. Each ragged breath feels like it could be his last as the oppressive atmosphere presses down upon him. In a final, desperate act, he opens his mouth to scream, but no sound emerges. It's as if the very air has become a suffocating blanket, smothering any attempt to cry out for help. The flashlight he's been clutching like a lifeline slips from his trembling fingers. It clatters to the ground, the beam flickering weakly before sputtering out entirely. In that last moment of illumination, he catches a glimpse of countless more spirits materializing from the shadows, their hollow gazes fixed upon him with singular intent. Then darkness, complete and absolute. The kind of darkness that swallows hope and extinguishes even the faintest glimmer of light. For a heartbeat, there is nothing but the sound of his own ragged breathing and the thunderous pounding of blood in his ears. In that pitch-black void, time seems to stand still. Then, without warning, he feels it, a touch so cold it burns. Fingers like ice wrap around his shoulder, their grip inhumanly strong. He wants to run, to fight, to do anything, but his body is frozen, paralyzed by a terror beyond anything he's ever known. A voice, ancient and hollow, whispers directly into his mind. Every grave holds a story, and every story hungers for a soul. If you hear your name in the dark, never answer. The words echo in the emptiness, each repetition driving home the finality of his situation. This is no nightmare from which he can wake. This is a realm where the boundary between the living and the dead has blurred beyond recognition. As the last echoes of that chilling warning fade away, the scene shifts. We pull back, leaving the young man to his fate. The camera pans across the moonlit graveyard, now shrouded in impenetrable mist. Tombstones jut from the ground like jagged teeth, while twisted trees cast long shadows that seem to writhe with a life of their own. In this place of eternal rest, silence reigns supreme. But it's not the peaceful quiet of a serene night. This is a silence that speaks volumes, a silence filled with unspoken horrors and untold stories. It's a silence that waits, patient and hungry, for unwary souls to stumble into its domain. As we take in this final, haunting image, words slowly materialize on the screen. The silent graveyard, where silence speaks the loudest. The letters seem to flicker and dance, as if struggling to maintain their form in a world where reality itself is fluid and uncertain. This is more than just a graveyard. It's a liminal space where the veil between worlds grows thin. A place where the dead do not rest easy, and where the living tread at their own peril. Every tombstone holds secrets. Every shadow conceals truths best left unspoken. For those brave or foolish enough to venture into the silent graveyard, a word of caution. Listen closely to the whispers on the wind, but guard your name with jealous care. For in this realm of eternal twilight, names hold power, and once given, they can never truly be reclaimed. The mist thickens, obscuring the final vestiges of the graveyard from view. It's a reminder that some mysteries are best left unsolved, some doors best left unopened. In the silent graveyard, stories don't end, they simply wait for new chapters to unfold. And with each unwary visitor, another tale is added to the tapestry of terror that blankets this forsaken place. So tread carefully, dear viewer, and remember, in the realm where silence speaks the loudest, it's often what remains unsaid that poses the greatest threat of all.